Assalamualaikum and good day to everyone. So today we're going to enter a new chapter, the air pollution control. So at the end of this chapter, the student should be able to clearly explain about the Clean Air Regulation 2014. And number 2, you should be able to understand methods and technologies available to control particulate contaminant. And lastly, you should be able to understand the equipment available to control the emission of certain gases. So remember what we've learned in air quality? The definition of air pollutants, when we have the presence of certain air contaminants at certain level. And these are sources of air pollutants, natural sources and also anthropogenic sources. And these are some impacts of air pollution towards human, the respiratory system, towards animal, towards plant, and not to forget the effect to materials and structures, and also can lead to global warming and also acid rain. So some regulation related to air pollution control under EQA 1974. So these are what we're going to learn, and some mitigating measures to reduce the air pollution. Okay, now the control measures. Some of the equipment that we use is wet scrubber, bag filters, cyclone, and also electrostatic precipitator. Besides that, the commitment from individual and public also play certain role in control the air pollution. And lastly, awareness and programs through certain campaigns can also reduce the air pollution. Okay, why air pollution control system is required? Okay, of course the first one, to follow some legal requirement. Number 2, because of the product recovery and the needs of production and product quality, and also the compliance with ISO 14001, and also a good corporate and social responsibility. Okay, so these are examples of the air pollution control system. Okay, some of them by using ducting, stack, tall stacks, fan, air pollution control equipment, and also suction hood. These are the components. And these are examples for air pollution control technology for dust emission control. Remember what we have learned in air quality? We have particulate and also gases. So for particulate or dust, we can use a cyclone, bag filter, particulate scrubber, electrostatic precipitator. And for gas emission, we can use scrubber, thermal oxidizer. Okay, next, the introduction to environmental quality, Clean Air Regulation 2004. Okay, so under this regulation, this is basically the replacement of regulation in 1978. Okay, so after some modification, so we have come to Environmental Quality Clean Air Regulation 2014. So this regulation applicable for premise that conducts burning or incineration, and also premise that discharges air pollutants into the open air, applicable for any industrial plant and also any fuel burning equipment. So it involves 3 stages. Okay, the first one is the designing stage, and after design, the construction stage, and lastly, the operation stage. So under regulation, Clean Air Regulation 2014, so there are 30 regulations. Okay, so there are 30 regulations. So we are going to look into certain regulations. Okay, so for example, Regulation 13 is referring to 3 schedules, which are the first schedule, second schedule, and also third schedule. Regulation 13 shall apply to any premise that carry out burning process, any premise process that discharge air pollutants, any industrial plant, and also any fuel burning equipment. Under Clean Air Regulation 2014, so we can summarize into these 3 parts. Okay, the first one is the obligations to notify on the installation of air pollution control system. This is under Regulation 5. Okay, so we have to notify first, and then under Regulation 7, the requirement to install air pollution control system. And in Regulation 13, as I mentioned before, this is the compliance to the limit values and technical standard. Okay, so we have to notify. After notify, the requirement. Okay, certain industry, the requirement of the equipment different. Okay, for example, for certain industry, the stacks maybe different meter compared to the other industry. So we have to follow the requirement. And lastly, compliance. After the equipment has been installed, has been used, so you have to follow certain requirement so that the pollutant cannot exceed certain limit. Okay, compliance to the limit values. This is under Regulation 13. Okay, so what is planning stage? So planning stage under Regulation 5 is the obligation to notify. So under Regulation 5, we have to submit written notification to inform that we're going to install certain equipment. Okay, so this can be done 30 days before any work starts. So these are the form that need to be filled. Okay, this is some of the example written notification form. Okay, to notify. And next is the construction stage. So after we notify, so we can design and construct the air pollution control system. Okay, so the air pollution control system need to be designed and constructed based on a certain industry. So under Regulation 7, we also need to submit written declaration 30 days after commencement of the operations. So this is the example of the written declaration form. And lastly, the operation stage. This is under Regulation 18. Okay, the report has been need to be submit annually. Okay, this is example of the form. Okay, so this is important. You have to follow the flow chart. Okay, starting with planning, construction, operation, and reporting. Okay, started with Regulation 5 to notify, and then to install under Regulation 7, This is for emission declaration under regulation 18.